constantly changing, and in recent years, for the worse. Summers are getting hotter and winters harsher. Rising sea levels, floods, droughts, wildfires, and torrential rain have been disrupting lives across continents. The fight against climate change is needed now more than ever. On this show, we bring you all the top stories on the climate crisis, its causes, its brutal effects, and the warriors helping fight the menace. We begin today with the United States. A powerful winter storm in the US is leaving behind a trail of destruction, with deadly avalanches in California and tornado threats. At least 8 people have been confirmed dead due to extreme weather situations. Forecasters warn that heavy snowfall and strong winds could trigger fresh avalanches in the coming days. Here is the detailed report.
A brutal winter storm has hit the United States. From the northern plains to the northeast, snow and ice are affecting transport. The storm is fueling tornado and hailstorm in parts of the Midwest, making it a rare and dangerous combination. The devastation has been tragic in the Sierra Nevada mountains of California. Amid worsening weather, rescue crews are trying to recover the bodies of 8 skiers that got killed in a catastrophic avalanche near Lake Tahoe. 1 more person remains missing. Officials now say violent snowstorms and dangerous snowpacks are preventing safe recovery operations. The individuals were part of a guided backcountry skiing expedition on Castle Peak, which is a famous destination for adventure sports enthusiasts. However, when the avalanche struck, a wall of snow buried the group. Consequently, 6 people survived the accident and managed to make a distress call in near whiteout conditions. But rescue teams could only reach them hours later due to relentless snowfall and the constant risk of more avalanches. Authorities say this is the deadliest avalanche in the United States in more than 4 decades. Meteorologists noted that there was more than 25 inches of accumulated snow in just 24 hours. The staggering total dramatically increased avalanche risk in the Lake Tahoe region. This led to closure of interstate highways and sealing of entire mountain zones in some areas. In response, emergency crews had to deploy aircraft, heavy machinery, and even controlled explosions to prevent further deadly slides.
An avalanche that buries over 10 people is rare. That's really rare. And that's significant because that means the avalanche was large enough, it swept down a mountainside that buried many people.
Across the U.S., the storm is unleashing chaos. The Northeast is facing blizzard-like conditions and may soon face dangerous ice accumulation. Transport systems in several regions remain under strain, while emergency services are overstretched.
In California, we have not had any snowfall for the last month plus, okay? And so the snowpack was very firm. And the last couple of days, we had a very large set of large storms that came through and dumped over 3.5 feet of snow in the Tahoe region. And so that snow, new fallen snow, sits on a very firm layer, and it doesn't have the time to bond well. And so it is already unstable.
And California is not the only state stuck in this crisis. In neighboring Utah, transport authorities were forced to trigger controlled avalanches to prevent unmanaged slides following heavy snowfall, which made slopes dangerously unstable. The state also witnessed entire mountainsides collapsing near key roadways. This triggered emergency closures and travel shutdowns for hours. But what led to this extreme weather? Climate experts claim that this growing pattern of weather anomalies is directly linked to climate change. They assert that what was once a rare occurrence is now happening with alarming regularity, and the human cost of this frequent climate crisis is rising. Data shows that each winter, avalanches kill 25 to 30 people in the U.S. However, climate-driven volatility is increasing the scale, unpredictability, and lethality of these disasters. Climate scientists stress call for urgent action amid growing threats. This includes reducing carbon footprint, shifting to clean energy, and adopting disaster prevention measures and early warning systems. They warn that without urgent intervention, extreme weather will only grow more destructive. Until humans fail to understand the catastrophic impact of their actions, calamities like the one in California will continue to be a recurring issue.
And now our next story. Imagine the Winter Olympics without winter. No, not a scheduling issue, a climate one. The iconic image of athletes slicing through perfect powder may soon become a historical archive rather than a live broadcast. Because scientists now warn that within decades, most cities on Earth may simply be too warm to host the games at all. Here is a report on how global warming is slowly melting one of the world's oldest sporting traditions.
The Winter Olympics were once a postcard. Sharp blue skies, blinding white mountains, and athletes carving history into fresh powder. Now, scientists say that by the 2080s, more than half of potential host cities will be climate unreliable. For decades, the Winter Olympics relied on cities where freezing temperatures were guaranteed. That safety net is disappearing. Researchers analyzed 93 past and potential host locations under different emissions scenarios from Asia, Northern America, Europe, and the Southern Hemisphere. By the 2050s, only 52 locations remain viable for Winter Olympics. For the Paralympics, just 22 are reliable sites. And under high emissions, a terrifying drop to only 4 for Paralympics. The Olympics isn't expanding anymore, it's retreating. The future has already arrived, and it is made of machines. The 2022 Beijing Winter Olympics became the first games with 100% artificial snow. At least 90% of snow in Yangqing was manufactured. To create that illusion of winter, 222 million liters of water were consumed. Future games may require 2.4 million cubic meters of snow, which equals roughly 380 Olympic-sized swimming pools of water. Artificial snow is again being used in the Milano Cortina Games in Italy. But there is a catch. Snowmaking machines still need cold air, and cold air is disappearing. In Vancouver 2010, pre-made snow melted during a record warm January, forcing trucks and helicopters to import more. We are now manufacturing a season that no longer naturally exists.
We can see the climate change fingerprint on the temperatures and the conditions that are happening. So if the Winter Olympics is something that you love, it's really good to understand how climate change and our actions as humans are changing the conditions, the reliability, everything that goes along with the Winter Games, if we want them to be something that we enjoy in the future and that we pass on to future generations to enjoy as well.
Climate change is not just cosmetic, it is injuring athletes. Warmer temperatures create wet, heavy, unstable snow closer to slush than powder. At the 2014 Sochi Games, unusually warm conditions contributed to higher crash rates. Athletes misjudged speed and landing zones because surfaces behaved unpredictably. Even practice sessions now get canceled due to lack of snow. Scientists say winter sport is being reshaped by fossil fuels. Snow droughts are spreading across the northern hemisphere. Some regions have lost 10 to 20% snowpack per decade over the past 40 years. Utah's Salt Lake City, the future host, recorded 0.1 inches of snow in January. This is significantly lower than the average of nearly 12.7 inches. The first Winter Olympics in 1924 happened entirely outdoors. By the 1980s, organizers moved many events indoors to guarantee ice. Now, even mountains cannot guarantee snow. The Olympics were built on nature. Nature is withdrawing permission.
And finally, what if the answer to plastic waste was hiding in plain sight? From waste to wonder, researchers are harnessing new ways to find sustainable solutions. At a time when the world is drowning in plastic pollution, horse dung, once seen as nothing more than farm waste, is now being transformed into a potential alternative to plastic. Could the answer to our plastic crisis really lie in stable yards and muddy fields? Here's the report on how poop is being reshaped into a sustainable solution.
Horse poop may not sound impressive, but it comes with several surprising benefits. First, it is rich in nutrients. It improves soil quality. It helps plants grow stronger and healthier. Second, it supports composting. When properly treated, horse manure turns into valuable organic fertilizer. It reduces the need for chemical alternatives. But the most important benefit is that horses' poop contains cellulose. At University College London, scientists are turning horse manure into a sustainable substitute for plastic by extracting cellulose. Cellulose is a natural fiber found in plants. It is strong, flexible, and biodegradable. Researchers say this technique could solve a tricky industry problem of manure disposal. It also reduces disposal costs for horse owners, as they are not easy to get rid of.
It's a massive, massive problem. It's an unavoidable waste that keeping horses, you have manure, and getting rid of it is not an easy task unless you've got someone reliable and someone who has an outlet for it. Now, for me, myself, I'm lucky I have partners, farming partners who will accept the manure and take it and manage it. But there's not many people like me that take manure. That's because they've got nowhere to take it to. So if there's no one to do it, then there's nowhere for the outlet, the waste product to go to. So I only work in Essex, so I only know the local, problem. But I guess nationwide it must be huge, the numbers of yards that struggle to get rid of their manure.
Strict regulations have made manure spreading more complicated. Costs have gone up. Options have narrowed. So many are looking for alternatives. Professor Mohan Edurasinghe, a biomaterials expert at UCL, had already been working on extracting cellulose from cow manure. Because of high cellulose content, horse manure proved even better, making it ideal for producing sustainable materials. Professor Edurasinghe uses a technique called pressurized spinning. It involves a rotating vessel fitted with tiny nozzles that spin out fine cellulose fibers. And unlike plastic, they break down naturally. He says the goal is to prove that waste can be turned into something valuable, and that innovation can help protect the earth.
We also got to look after our earth. We got to look after our earth. And also we got to establish the fact that waste can be turned into wonder, which is the actual scenario that we are working on currently. We take horse dung, for example, and make cellulose films out of that, which can be very important for packaging, all kinds of packaging. So the emphasis has turned into using materials that are really beneficial for human beings in more than one way. We can recycle them, we can use them and produce them at low energy. We can also prepare what we use as a feedstock in a very economical way, largely using water-based solvents and water-based suspensions.
The process is flexible. It can be scaled up for mass production, or scaled down for small, off-grid systems. It can even run on solar power. That means farms could one day process manure on site, turning a disposal headache into usable material. This matters because animal waste is becoming a global challenge.
With pressurization, right now we have discovered that we can make films, ribbons, and also fibers as well. By switching the angle, switching the axis, we are now able to process much more materials, and also this has introduced ability to use more bio-driven materials and made it possible for us to actually take the animal waste and turn them into products that can be actually used in the industry and academia and in the world in general.
In 2019, research estimated that animal waste could increase by 40% between 2003 and 2030. That is at least 5 billion tons. Many farms already produce more manure than they can legally use as fertilizer. When excess waste runs into rivers, it damages ecosystems. It pollutes drinking water. It can even spread disease. So instead of contaminating waterways, horse poop could become part of the solution. The world is searching for sustainable materials. And sometimes the answer is not futuristic. It's practical. Horse manure, once seen only as waste, could now help reduce plastic dependence and protect the environment. From the stable to sustainable innovation. A simple idea with powerful potential.
Well, that's it on Planet Pulse for today. We'll see you again at the same time next week. Until then, thanks for watching.
The streets roared her name. Supporters climbed rooftops. History seemed ready to repeat itself. Then it happened. A flash. A burst. Panic swallowing cheers. In seconds, Benazir Bhutto was gone. Not voted out, not defeated, but assassinated. Catch the full story on the assassination at these times, only on Firstpost.